but I have things for you. Okay, no Sue-Ann today, so you have to settle for me. Or am I better than Sue-Ann? No, I'm not. I'm not. Okay, let's talk about working with sellers. Who in here has sold their own like been a seller, owned a house and sold a home? Wait, you guys haven't sold a home? Okay. I was like, I feel like you've talked about it. Okay, so Ben, all of this will be news to you. Do you guys know how long it takes to sell a home on average? Like how many days it's on the market right now in our current market? Something around 60. I thought 57. What did Dean's email say? He sent it out on Friday. Oh, you guys don't get those emails? I'll bug Dean, see why. Um, so imagine this. Imagine that you go on the listing of presentation and you talk about how awesome you are. And the seller's like, you know what? You are pretty awesome. I'm going to list my house with you. And you say, great, you won't regret it. And then you list the house. And let's just call it like a Thursday, it goes live. And then you do an open house on Saturday. And you don't really get anyone. You get like two people, and they were both like looky-loos. And they're just like, nah, I don't even like you. I'm not going to work with you. You didn't even get leads. No one's interested in the house. Um, and then the house just doesn't really sell. You get maybe a showing or two every week, but you're on the market for like 2 full months before you get that offer that someone is accepting. Like the sellers are like, yes, we can accept this, or we can negotiate and accept this. And then you get down to this closing and under contract. So the number one complaint with sellers like a decade ago, do you know what it was? It was from the day it went live to the day it went under contract, they did not hear from their agents enough. That was the number one complaint. That complaint went away, but it only went away because homes were selling quickly. So we need to have this awesome experience from, hey, we just went live to congrats, we have an offer, and then it's accepted so that they love us. And it's like 2 months. So let's talk real quick. When the house goes live, how do you get like that initial boom? Let's talk marketing. What are you going to do marketing wise? Okay, so we put it on the MLS and then you're saying everything's social media. So post on your account. Is that what you're doing? Hey, I have this new listing. Come check it out. Okay. I feel like I should write some of these things down. This is a list. You write lists down. Okay. So we have to start with the MLS. Then we're going to do your social media. Where I'm going to put others, socials. Yeah. Yeah. So how would you get their social media? What does that look like? Yeah. Yeah. Build something on Canva, grab one of those templates, say, hey, I've created this. Yeah, I'll do this for you or do that. Love it. What else do you do? So you go drop off some flyers to the neighbors. How many do you do? Okay, what else? Someone that's not Chris. He's got all the good ideas. What else do you guys do? How else would you? Oh yeah, go to your buyers. Yep. Analyze the price. Your sellers. I'm gonna sellers. One that you guys aren't mentioning, a team meeting. We do our presentations. So present it here. WhatsApp. Love it. What else? Did we miss anything? We didn't talk open houses, but Love it. Get everyone involved. That's actually a great idea, by the way. I don't know very many people that do that, but like, help me share this out. That's cool listing. So, okay, out of these things, which do you do like right away and which do you like wait to do? Okay. Like if we're like list on a Thursday and now it's a Monday, how many of these things have you done from Thursday until Monday? Is there any that you would wait longer than like the first couple days? Maybe your flyers, you might do that out a little bit. In team meeting, you're going to present that on Tuesday, so that's coming up. How about like a week after you've been on the market for a week? Have you done everything that we've talked about? Probably, right? So your first week, you got to call the sellers. By the way, I suggest that you call your sellers at least every single week. My very favorite is Friday. You give them a call and you give them an update of what's going on. So if you go live on Thursday, your Friday update is, hey, I'm going to do this every Friday. I just want to let you know. We went live yesterday, so I don't have a lot to say because we've been talking a whole bunch to get it live. Now that we're live, expect to talk to me at least every Friday. So if you're like, oh my goodness, I haven't heard from my agent for so long, just know every Friday we're going to talk. We will probably talk in between then, but if we don't, we'll talk on Friday. Answer my phone call. You'll be surprised about how many people do not answer your phone call. Then your first Friday update past that, you get to say, look at all of these things that I did. Like you saw my social media. I sent you the post on social, told you to share it with others. We actually knocked 50 neighbors around to invite them there. We went to some businesses and put up some flyers. I talked to all of my other buyers and sellers that I have, see if they might be interested. I double checked the price. I'm keeping up to date on that. I presented it to like 80 agents in team meeting. And then I put it out in our group chat, and we had the open house that was not great, but we did it. How are you feeling as a seller? Great. We're doing a whole bunch of things. Okay, so that's our week one. Now we're week two. What do you do? What's your what's your update gonna be? Can you do some of these again? I guess some of them you could. What if, let's just talk about this WhatsApp one. What if every week, everyone in the brokerage that had a listing posted on WhatsApp and said, "Hey, check out my listing. We're still available." How often would you look at that WhatsApp channel? You get so annoyed. There'd be some exhaust, some fatigue there. How about if you did that with your social media? Every listing that you ever had, every week you post it. If you're doing the same post every day, for sure you'd get the fatigue. So yep. If you're talking something different, that might be okay. So the thing about listings is you get all of this like oomph, marketing oomph in the beginning. This is why I try to tell sellers like price your home right because I get to do all of these things and blast it out there. And then after that, you know that when most other agents post all of these things or do things again is usually at price reductions. And so I try to do those every 3 weeks. That's kind of like my default. It doesn't matter that I mean everyone's different. If someone's like, I have 6 months to sell my house, I'm in no hurry. I'm probably not going to be on that same 3 week timeline. If someone's like, I actually like Ben's parents, like, hey, we're under contract. We need to sell our house now. Every 3 weeks is so in that case, 3 weeks is too long. So you're going to play that by ear, but if someone is like, yeah, I want to sell my house, I need to, but I'm not in a hurry, but I also need to, like 3 weeks is a great kind of timeline. So I try to set that up front with the listing, like, hey, this is our go-to-market price. If we are not seeing results, we're going to talk every 3 weeks and do a price enhancement, I call it. Adjustment. It's not a reduction. It's a enhancement or adjustment. Uh, you will start to get good at things like this. It changes constantly, and so there's no hard and fast rule, but the more that you are in the market and doing listings, the better you're going to get at knowing some of the signals around it. Things that I like to look at. So the MLS, it gives you the ability to see stats and information on every listing that you post. So you can see how many times it's viewed online. That's 100% made up to me. Like it does not mean anything. Someone called me the other day and they're like, what do all these numbers mean? Because it's like full results, map results, quick results. Like there's like 20 different categories. If you go to the MLS, you know how it says like there's like 13 or 14,000 listings. If you click view all and it is one of the listings, it now just counts up one because it showed up in the search results. If you go to a map and search in Orem and your listing is in Orem, it now shows up. So it starts counting. So people are like, oh, I want to see so many views and things. It's like, oh, that's made up. It's 100% different. Like people looking in Orem is different than people looking in Vineyard, but they might show up at the same results. And so like it's hard to know like how many views you should get online. But what you should get is showings. That is like step number one, that your price is right, is if you are getting showings. My rule of thumb is you should probably get 3 showings a week, even the first week. Because again, we have the big power of marketing right off the bat. So the first the first of it should get 3 showings, even though you have a shortened week. You got some excitement around that. We can count open house showings in that as well, but I want to see 3. The next week, I want to see 3 in that full week, and so on and so forth. If you have 10 showings and you do not get an offer, so you're 3 weeks in, you are probably overpriced. 10 people walking through your house not making an offer means that something's wrong with it. Now, if it, you guys have walked through houses, sometimes houses are just like blah, right? You just go through a house and you're like, there's nothing wrong with this house, but this like just it isn't the house for us. So you need to make sure that this house does not become that house. So this is like that pre-staging kind of a thing where you might, or the light staging where you just put a couple of nice pillows, maybe some artwork up, maybe just use their stuff to move things around. Maybe it's a full stage. Maybe it's just price. If you price something well, then you can actually have it sell even when it's blah because it's cheaper than the other things. So there's a lot of factors that go into this, and it's all the things that you talk about during the listing presentation. Is if it's not being shown exactly like it should be, then it's not going to sell like it should be. And then you'll get a house that has like 4 showings down the street from you. um, so our rules of thumb so far, we have a lot of them. Every week you're talking to your sellers. You have to tell them that you did something every single week. You need to give an update on the market and give them any feedback that you have. Um, deeper on that. Every time I take a listing, I put a listing alert for the neighborhood. So I might have 2 or 3 listing alerts for a listing that I have active. I do not want the sellers to call me and be like, oh, hey, I just noticed a listing go active from me 3 houses away. How much is that selling for? And you're like, what? I did not know that. That's not a thing. You want to be very clear and confident to be like, hey, you know what? That is not on the market yet. The only way for us to know is we have to wait 1 day because from when the sign goes up, you should have 24 hours before it's on the market because that is technically marketing and you have 24 hours to market it. So, like number 3, here we go. We're going home if this one stops. Okay, so let's talk about updates. So you're going to do one every single week with your sellers. Your first one, you can talk about everything that's going on. Um, from there on, you are going to have a listing alert for their neighborhood so you know that every house that goes for sale in the neighborhood. I would also do like their comps or things that other people might buy based on their house. So when I do this, I try to think of like who's gonna buy this house. And you might have a couple of different versions of this, but typically they're all about the same. Like if you decide like, okay, this is like a first time home buyer house. Like that's who's gonna buy this house. Well, first time home buyers are not very picky. Like they are, but they aren't. Like if you're like, would you live in Orem or American Fork or Linden or Pleasant Grove? The answer is yes. Those are all the same. Yeah, like why even compare? But if you're like, would you live in Lehigh versus Salem? Those are very different. And so those aren't comparable. Like maybe someone is like, well, I work in Orem, so I'm okay with either of those. But I try to silo it based off of like the competition that I have, and I want to keep an eye out on all of the competition. So who's going to buy this house, and then what else would they be looking for? If I have a 3 bedroom, 2 bath home with an unfinished basement, that's probably going to be comparable to a 4 bedroom home with the finished basement, like so I don't need to drill in to get like exact comps, but I want to be like, okay, if someone's looking at my house, what else would they be looking at in the market? And I need to make sure that I, as the agent, know that we're better or just kind of see trends and patterns, right? If everyone else in the area drops their price by 10 grand and all of a sudden we're 10 grand more expensive than everyone else, we are not going to sell that house. And we also don't want to drop 10 grand. We want to drop 12 or 15 or 20 so that we're the best looking on the market. So you have everything that you're doing, and then you have the market that you can always update them on. Those should always be consistent. Like, how did I think about your house and what did I do for you this week? And it might be as simple as I got a phone call on the sign and I talked to them trying to get them to convince to see your house. So I pitched on how awesome you are. I mentioned your property to an agent as we were talking. Like those might be your updates in the later weeks. Um, and then here's what's going on around you. Uh, this is also going to set you up because every 3 weeks you do a price reduction, uh, which is not a price reduction. What's it called? Enhancement or adjustment. Yep. So if you're doing that every 3 weeks, if every 3 weeks you bombard them and say, I think we should lower the price, they're gonna be like, no. But if every week you're like, hey, here's all of the other competition and they're looking a little bit better than us. On week number 3, they're gonna say, I think we should lower the price. You're like, I think we should too. Good call. It will make it so easy for you. The third thing that you should update is any feedback that you have. And I do this in one of two ways. So with showing time, when you have a list, nope, a line showing, that's what we use. We used to use showing time. Uh, we it will send feedback requests, right? If you ever show a home, you get one of those emails that's like, give us some feedback. I like to be nice and actually give feedback. But the feedback that I want to give is good feedback. That does not mean it's nice feedback. It means it's useful, helpful feedback. Um, I kind of break feedback up into 3 categories. It's either going to be they hated your house and they want to tell you about that. They loved your house and they want to tell you about that. Or you were that blah house on the market and they have nothing to tell you. Like sometimes you walk through that house and you're like, no, but I don't know why no. Like it checks all the boxes on paper, but it's missing that X factor that we need. Like that's not helpful feedback to the listing agent. So I try to get feedback as a listing agent. If someone doesn't fill out the feedback, to be honest, I don't ask for more, but I know a lot of agents that will send out texts and do calls and things like that. Uh, if it's not selling, it is very helpful to get more feedback to know. That's just going to arm you with data that you can then go use against your sellers. You're on the same team. You can use it with your sellers to better price the home. So in that scenario, you will have information to tell them. I release this instantly to the sellers. I tell them this when I go live. Hey, I'm going to ask every single agent for feedback. Not everyone fills it out. If they do, it's going to go directly to you. Not all agents do this because they want to sugarcoat it. I say I'm going to send it directly to you and take it with a grain of salt. If someone says they hate it, that might just be that one person. Don't get offended by one person. Then at the end of the week, I'm recapping everything that I heard and I'm putting my agent cap on it to what this means. Hey, it sounds like everyone hates your backyard. When's the last time that you mowed? Do we need someone out there? You know, do we need to go spray for some weeds? Like, what do we need to do to improve this? Because we're getting this feedback. Now, if you get into a point where you're getting zero feedback, something that you can do is called the broker tour. If you guys want to do this, it's actually kind of interesting. So UCAR puts them on. You meet somewhere, maybe it's at someone's brokerage or at UCAR. I think they do a north, a central, and a south Utah County. If you want your listing to be part of this broker tour, you just have to go to the broker tour. And then what it is it's like at 10 o'clock on a Thursday or something random like that. You go through and you walk through 6 or 7 different houses and you give them very detailed feedback on what you think. So if you have a listing that's not moving, this is a great way to get feedback when you're not getting showings. Spoiler alert, the price is the issue. The biggest way to sell a house is to price it right. If you price it right, as long as the marketing is there to support you, you will get a great price or a great offer. If you don't have a good price, you are not going to get as much, right? Thanks. It's like a pyramid. This is the ideal price. This is the max number of people that you can get. If you price too high, there's very few people that would be willing to buy your house. If you go to the bottom, there's so many that you're going to get crazy amounts. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to work together. I want you to find a random MLS, and this is going to be your listing. Make it someone in the brokerage just so it's fun. I want you to make up stories about what you think is going on with this property. So we're going to do a few things with this. Number one, I want you to analyze the price. You don't need to go too deep here. It's not a full CMA, but like pull up some other comps and things in the area and be like, is this priced well? Didn't someone just ask about this in WhatsApp last week? Lane? I think Lane asked about this. Let's do his property. So pull up his property, work together and think, okay, who's going to buy this? And then how does it compare with everything out there? Then I want you to do like a marketing analysis, as let's call it. So I want you to go see what Lane has done for his marketing. I want you to like search, like even just Google the address to see what's going on and how things are looking. See if there's any tips that you would give Lane, who's a great agent, by the way. So maybe you won't really find anything, but maybe he's missing some things. Go search on social media, like do whatever stalking that you can and see what's there. And then I want you to like pretend that you are talking to the seller and giving an update of all the things that you did this first week as you like analyze this. And then what would you say a week later and even a week after that to try to get them to lower their price? So we're going to role play on this. Lane Thompson is his name. And if that one's not available, let's go find a different one. So I think so. So go analyze. We're going to do this to learn from others and then find the gaps in others and then practice having some of those conversations. So I want you to like role play. Someone's going to be the seller, someone's going to be the listing agent and talk about like, hey, here's an update. And then I want you to get to the point where you are actually asking them to lower their price. And put your suggestion in there. Who's ever the seller, push back just a little bit, okay? And play around with that.